Many teachings and teachers that point to awake consciousness. What I point to is the maturation of that awakeness as it filters into your very human reality and starts to infuse your life and come up against those inevitable defense structures and reactive patterns that do not necessarily all vanish in one fell swoop just because there has been a glimpse or realization of awakeness. So awakening itself is easy. It doesn't seem easy from the perspective of ego. It seems like some future destination, some transcendent reality, some unachievable bliss that will suddenly make your life perfect or make you perfect. Somehow we elevate it to some special status. Somehow we become more special when we achieve this mythical state of enlightenment or awakening. But the reality is that it's actually very easy. It's like falling off a log. When I say easy, I mean there's nothing that you can do to make it happen. No amount of spiritual practice, no amount of striving and struggle and learning and accumulation of spiritual knowledge and understanding can actually make awakening happen. It is not up to you to awaken. That's what I mean when I say it's easy. It's easy because it reveals itself when you stop trying to become anything other than what you already are. When you stop trying to become more special. When you stop trying to become more enlightened. When you stop trying to become more spiritual. When the grip of ego's need to become something finally loosens, there's a deep relaxation. And in that sense, it's like falling off a log. The log starts rolling downhill. And there's nothing you can do about that. You can't hold on to it. You can't stop it. You can only let go. And in that letting go, you fall into that which is already what you are, your natural state of beingness. Now, I don't really want to talk much more about that right here, although it may come up in the inquiry. What I want to talk about is what happens after that. What happens after awakeness, awake consciousness has revealed itself as the natural state of beingness? What happens in the maturation process? Because this isn't very often spoken about. There's something called time. And time is what it takes for the timeless to flow into who you are as a human being. Time is what it takes for the deepening surrender required in the face of the unrelenting waves of life. Time is what it takes for the beloved to chew you up, absorb you and metabolize you into goodness. Time is what it takes for the bud of awakening to flower into beauty. And for that beauty and fragrance to be released into your life and into your world. time is what it takes for a sour grape to be ripened in the barrel and become the intoxication of wine. Time is what it takes for the chickpea to be cooked so that it becomes nourishment. And so it is with awakening. It takes time for the maturation of that awakening, for it to filter into every aspect of your human experience, where it's no longer special, but very ordinary. And yet in that ordinariness, there is deep nourishment. For you and for the world around you. Because it's in life, in the everyday life, that the rubber hits the road, that the challenge of living the truth of awakeness is really tested. It's when we're triggered in relationship with our parents, with our children, with our closest friends, with our husband, our wife, our lover. When we're triggered and the old reactivity of withdrawal, of the sense of rejection, the sense of abandonment, continues to play itself out. As awakeness filters from the freshness of a new perspective into the intimacy of the heart which is so used to armoring itself, it's become a habit. We've learnt hardness, we've learnt closure to protect ourselves from something that we think hurts. Because we know what it feels like to be hurt, to be abandoned, to be rejected, to be misunderstood. And we carry that. Even after awakeness, we can be triggered. It's right there. It's right there in the midst of those triggers that the deepest invitation is. The invitation to turn towards openness, to turn towards tenderness. To surrender our sense of righteousness, our sense of being wronged, it's in the midst of loss and heartbreak that is an inevitable part of the human experience. We can allow an even wider opening of the heart. In which we are crucified in that loss and broken so wide open that there is only unbrokenness, there is only openness. So whether that relationship is to another person or to any activity in our lives, to our work, to our passion, to our mission, to our creativity, to our sense of purpose, to our wellness, to our well-being, to our health, everything, every place that seems to invite us to withdraw, to retract, to close down, is actually the invitation to openness, to softness, to tenderness, to a deep relaxation in the midst of everything. Life itself is the guru. Life itself is the satsang. Everything is included in that. It's an invitation to courage, to tenacity, to humility, and to tenderness. Very often when that second phase, if you like, of maturation, of awakeness, isn't allowed because there's some idea that awakening has been achieved and I've arrived and here it is, this special state. When that's held onto in any way, however subtle that holding is, the result, the outcome, is mostly confusion, dissociation, depression, and arrogance. Time is what it takes for the human being to be softened, for the sword of truth to cut away what is superfluous, to cut away the accumulation of a lifetime of reactivity, which is lodged in our physiological system, our nervous system, and in our relationship to life. In that willingness to give it time, in that willingness to allow every aspect of the human experience to be your satsang, to be your inquiry, to be devoted to the ongoing invitation of life to surrender. When I say surrender, I really mean soften. When I say soften, I mean open. When I say open, I mean tenderness. When I say tenderness, I mean love. Love not as a commodity, love not as a feeling. Love has nothing to do with you feeling better about yourself. Love has nothing to do with you feeling loved. Love is the open space, the openness of the depth of you, of the innermost of you, in the face of everything that appears in your experience. as you give yourself more and more to that openness, which is really what the heart knows. The head doesn't, but the heart does. When you give yourself more and more to that, then all the subtle and not so subtle defense structures that have been in place for lifetime or lifetimes are more likely to come tumbling down effortlessly. In that way, awakeness starts to infuse everything, your whole human system, your whole vehicle, your whole inner environment, and your outer environment. It's like an emanation. Emanation of cleanliness, of purity. That starts to penetrate your very physical structure, your physiology, your nervous system. And as the nervous system relaxes, a much deeper intelligence starts to inform your life. From that intelligence, you start living fully awake and fully human.